A big question that we get from client account managers coming to work at Dot is, what does your day even look like? And then from the agency's perspective, they want to know, what is a client account manager even doing on a day-to-day basis? And what are the things that you're doing that make you guys so successful? So on today's episode, we are going to give you a glimpse into what our days look like and how we train our client account managers to be premium client-facing account managers.
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, brought to you by Dot & Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat cam life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to happy clients.
So planning your day as a client account manager can definitely be tricky because a lot of our job is prioritizing and making sure all accounts have proper attention. And sometimes CAMs will be working on 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 accounts at one time. So you really have to plan out your day, which is so important. And it generally starts with meetings. I always look at my calendar and I see what's on the go for which account, and I have it color coordinated, and I make sure that I can have enough time, not only in between, but to give my other responsibilities also time in between meetings, but you have to balance it all out together. But I do always start with meetings.
Yeah. And I think your point, Katie, about making sure you're giving all of your agencies the attention that they need, I find that's the most difficult thing to manage. And it's doable, but it's not like you time block from 9 to 11 for one agency and then 11 to 1 for another. It's very in and out throughout the day. So you have to be able to be fluid. Obviously you're going to have your meetings set, but you do have to be very flexible. So it's kind of this balance of plan your day and prioritize and actually be super productive when you're working in different agencies and not being all over the place. So plan as much as you can, but be flexible to pulse between.
Something else I always think about too is time zone. So I'm working with an agency in the UK. So as soon as I hop online, they're my first go-to, send a little message, this is what I'm working on today. Or even if I think about kind of my to-do list for that agency, so then I can get what I need to be successful before they're offline. So even thinking about that, so say I have a morning full of meetings in my time zone, but the UK, that means they actually get none of my time during that kind of heavy morning on other agencies. So a quick pulse, make sure I know what's going on and I can actually get what I need from that agency to kind of continue on and support their clients.
For sure. And another thing too that I think is helpful is when you do jump on in the morning, generally because we have 2 to 3, 4 agencies at one time, I always like to just go through each one and see if there's any fires, right? Because sometimes overnight you might wake up and there's an emergency that you have to deal with. Obviously that is realistic. You just have to do it. But if you go through your inbox, you read your emails and you go through your inbox and you see what you have to do today, then move on to the next, then you're not anxious about getting everything done, moving to the next. You know what's going on.
Yeah. And you don't want to be sitting on said meeting, said early morning meeting and just being what's happening? Yeah. So it is good to check. I usually do that. Well, I check my email lying in bed first thing I wake up in the morning.
Bad.
But then when you go through your Slack channels too, right, where it's that sort of internal, informal communication of hey, this happened, let's do this. And even media buyers and contractors will be on different time zones. So it is to kind of good to take a pulse in the morning, just make sure those fires are out and everybody's kind of starting off happy.
Yeah. Number 2 is inbox zero. I know we talk about this a lot, but it's so important to be successful as a client account manager. Your main job is to make sure nothing's falling through the cracks. And the only way to be confident that your stuff is done is by getting to the bottom of your inbox. Everything's organized, checked off, cleaned out, ready for the next day. So if you're not getting to inbox zero, guaranteed there's stuff falling through the cracks.
100%. And there'll be days when you can't get to inbox zero. That is a truth. But then when you start off your day and you check it out and you prioritize it, you can get there at the end of the day. That is so awesome because you're being efficient, you're using your time properly, And it really is such a great sort of start, even planning out how you get to inbox zero by 5 p.m. or whatever that looks like.
For sure. Number 3 is project management. So a huge role as a client account manager is also wearing that project management hat. But what I find people don't realize our job is a lot of chasing people. And it might sound like you're nagging, but there's a huge difference between nagging someone and project managing, because our clients are agency owners or operations managers, and they are busy, and their strength is not keeping people organized and project managing. That's why they hire us. So a lot of our day is checking in on things. Hey, where are we at with this? Where are we at with this? Can you make sure you read this email? I need to get it out. Pushing people to finish things and keep projects on track.
And that just, makes the experience for the client so much better. Yeah, you might be nagging behind the scenes, but it actually makes things, that's how you're going to get results sometimes, right? Like, where are we with this? How's the creative coming here? And then that's a great update for the client that they appreciate. Hey, we haven't forgotten about you. We're working on your account right now. We saw this come through overnight. We're going to, we're fixing it right now. Just anything to kind of give the client something that makes them feel extra special is always helpful. So that project management is a great tool to then waterfall over into how you interact with the client that day.
Yeah, and being accountable, right? So even if you see that the agency owner writes in an email, I'll get back to you by tomorrow, you actually have to project manage that agency owner to get stuff done. Because if they're promising the client, hey, I'll get back to you tomorrow, and it's probably not going to get done unless you remind them or facilitate that. That's your job as an account manager, is you're responsible for this client relationship.
Yeah. So client account management and project management definitely go hand in hand, is a big part of our role. And you know what? It really makes people stay on track, which makes the agency happy. And even when they can see you inside of Asana or whatever, updating and pinging people, I think that just goes a long way.
Yeah, like you're taking accountability for all the projects, and they're not always yours. You're being proactive, and you're making sure nothing falls through the cracks. That's the biggest pain point for agencies.
Totally.
Number 4 is celebrate wins for the team. So I think, a big part of our role when coming into an agency is not only improving the client experience, project management, but gluing the team together and sharing across wins, right? Because if we're managing clients and we get the positive feedback, we want the team to know, and you need to be the one to share.
I think when you're even managing, so you get it back from the client, a win, we love what you're doing or whatever, and you can share kind of that media buyer specific information or like huge win with the agency. I think even media buyers love that so much too, right? It's like really making everybody feel great and that we're all kind of working together, which is definitely another piece of the puzzle, the community management too. And it's not, happy hours at 4 necessarily, but it's those wins that are linking together a remote team and getting them excited and everybody's work being celebrated.
Yeah. And last but not least is ensuring that you're updating the team on where things are at. So something that falls through the cracks, I think a lot of times, is we're doing the day-to-day. We're in the client communications, project managing. We're doing the things we need to be doing that are keeping the agency running smoothly. But unless we're updating the team on high level where projects or clients are at, they're going to be thinking that things aren't getting done. So you almost have to like show your footsteps. You have to be like, maybe it's a client sheet or a CEO dashboard or an end of day update or whatever that looks like for the agency, but just showing them where things are at. So it's proactive for the team. They don't think that you're not doing your job, and they're not coming to you being like, hey, where are we at with this client? Like my stomach falls when an agency asks me that.
Yeah. Pro tip. As we do for our clients, we'd call the daily pulse. If anybody's aware of that, it's kind of a dot secret. So the daily pulse, I actually replicate that and do an internal pulse. So where I list out all the clients and say, this is what we're doing today. This is, creative, waiting on creative. Creative went into Creative Hub or whatever it might be, or copy being written. or pixels down, anything that it might be, just like a quick snapshot that's inside Slack, and then the agency owner can just kind of see it all at a glance, which is really helpful for agency owners who are trying to get out of the minutia and kind of into that highlighted snapshot. So
Good
that's a
one,
little pro tip.
Katie. Look at you. Well, there you have it. 5 hot tips of what highly successful account managers do every day. Plan your day, get to inbox zero, project manage people, team, everything. Celebrate the wins for the team and pulse and update your team on where everything is at.
These tips are all really important, and client account managers practice them every day. We're always growing, but these are definitely 5 staples in the life of a successful client account manager.
Thanks for listening in to another episode of the Happy Clients podcast. Until next time.
Cheers to happy clients.